The painting we are about to explore is not only one of the most striking in the history of art, but also one of the most unsettling. Within it lies a gaze that says everything, a flicker of rage, humiliation, and defiance that grips us the moment we meet it. This work is The Fallen Angel, created in 1847 by Alexandre Cabanel, a French painter who at just 24 years old dared to portray Lucifer in a way that broke entirely with convention. Here, the fallen angel is not a monster nor a demonic shadow, but a figure of almost divine beauty. His body, sculpted with the perfection of a Greek god, lies upon a rocky ground, his muscles tense, his hands tightly clasped as if he were trying to contain an emotion on the verge of exploding. And yet the true force of the painting does not come from his body, but from his gaze. Cabanel compels us to hold Lucifer's stare, to confront those eyes filled with hatred, resentment, and something deeper than mere defeat. Above him, the heavens still glow with the presence of triumphant angels celebrating the glory of God. Lucifer, in contrast, is alone, cast out, disgraced, or perhaps only momentarily subdued. We are left wondering, has he truly accepted his fate? Why do his eyes burn with such intensity? Is he crushed by the pain of defeat, or fueled by the fury of one already planning revenge? Is he gathering strength to rise again, or drowning in his own despair and pride? Alexandre Cabanel was no ordinary artist. Accepted into the prestigious École des Beaux-Arts at just 17 and exhibiting at the Paris Salon 3 years later, he was already recognized as a prodigy. But with The Fallen Angel, he sought more than technical mastery. He dared to confront one of the most complex and controversial figures in Christian tradition. During his time in Rome, Cabanel produced an advanced preparatory study for the painting, a first version in which many of the elements that define the final work were already emerging. The posture of Lucifer, the rocky landscape, and the chorus of angels floating in the sky could already be seen. Yet something essential was missing. In this preliminary version, Lucifer's head hangs low, his gaze is unfocused, drifting downward, and one hand rests on his forehead, a gesture that conveys complete surrender. This earlier Lucifer appears defeated, overwhelmed by the weight of his fall, as if he had given up entirely, but something changed when Cabanel created the final composition. In the finished painting, Lucifer no longer appears resigned. He looks defiant, his head is slightly raised, his posture still tense, but his eyes now lock directly onto the viewer. His gaze becomes piercing and complex, a mixture of anger, resentment, and a more elusive emotion. Part pain, part pride, part silent determination. The environment also evolves. Darker clouds gather above him, enhancing the dramatic weight of the scene, and new details appear, such as the thorny branches laid at his feet, absent from the initial study, symbolizing the harshness of his new fate and the hostile world to which he has been cast. Through these changes, Cabanel refines the emotional and narrative intention of the work. He shifts from portraying a defeated creature to presenting an ambiguous, powerful figure, an angel who has fallen, yes, but whose story feels far from over. Every detail in The Fallen Angel reflects the diverse artistic influences Cabanel absorbed throughout his training. Lucifer's anatomy evokes classical sculpture with its idealized proportions, muscular precision, and the heroic tension often seen in Greek mythology. Cabanel uses beauty as a deliberate tool, an outward perfection that contrasts sharply with inner rebellion. Meanwhile, the angels in the sky recall the elegance of the Italian Renaissance, especially Raphael. Their graceful poses, rhythmic arrangement, and aerial movement echo the harmony and refinement typical of Renaissance frescoes and altarpieces. This contrast between Lucifer's sculptural weight and the angel's ethereal delicacy heightens the emotional divide between the fallen and the divine. The atmosphere of the scene aligns with the spirit of Romanticism, the movement that dominated the European art world at the time. The dramatic sky, the psychological intensity, the emotional charge embedded in Lucifer's expression all resonate with romantic themes of rebellion, struggle, and the individual confronting a higher power. Yet Cabanel diverges from the flamboyance of many romantics. Instead of vibrant colors, he employs a restrained palette of cool, muted tones, deep shadows, and soft highlights, reinforcing the isolation and introspection of his subject. Through this fusion of classical form, Renaissance elegance, and romantic emotion, Cabanel creates a work that feels at once traditional and daring, rooted in history, yet unmistakably original. Despite its technical brilliance and emotional depth, The Fallen Angel did not receive the praise Cabanel anticipated when he exhibited it at the Paris Salon of 1847. Instead, it was met with skepticism and harsh criticism. In a letter to a friend, Cabanel lamented, "This is my reward for all the effort I put into not delivering a mediocre piece of work." Why did such a powerful painting provoke controversy? First, the subject matter was unusually bold for an artist so young. In the academic world, monumental portrayals of Lucifer were expected from established figures, not from a 24-year-old still building his reputation. Many critics felt that Cabanel had overreached. Secondly, his depiction of Lucifer shattered expectations. Instead of a grotesque demon, Cabanel presented a breathtakingly beautiful angel, a being whose physical perfection challenged traditional notions of evil. This troubled many viewers. They asked, how could the devil be so beautiful? To them, beauty served as a moral indicator. To Cabanel, it did not. Then there was the emotional rawness of the face. The mixture of humiliation, rage, and pride was far more intense than the gentle expressions preferred by academic taste. Lucifer's humanity, his vulnerability, and his fury felt unsettlingly real. Furthermore, Cabanel's restrained color palette contrasted with the vivid theatricality favored by many romantic painters. Instead of dramatic reds and fiery tones, he chose cold shadows and muted blues, underscoring Lucifer's isolation rather than creating visual spectacle. Yet today, these very qualities, its audacity, its psychological depth, its refusal to simplify its subject, are precisely what make the fallen angel one of the most compelling images of Lucifer in art history. Cabanel's vision was shaped by two major sources, the Bible and John Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost. The biblical account of Satan's fall appears in Revelation chapter 12, where the archangel Michael and his heavenly army defeat the great dragon and cast him out of heaven along with his followers. This is the precise moment Cabanel captures. Lucifer newly expelled, separated forever from celestial glory, condemned to the earth below. But if scripture provided the narrative framework, Milton provided the psychology. In Paradise Lost 1667, Satan is not merely the adversary of God. He is portrayed as a tragic, charismatic leader, driven by unyielding pride and an unbreakable will. He is defiant, even in ruin. From this characterization emerges his famous declaration, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." When we look into the eyes of Cabanel's Lucifer, burning not just with anger, but with something like resolve, it is difficult not to think of Milton's Satan. Cabanel seems to capture a soul torn between loss and defiance, faith and rebellion, despair and ambition. The result is a Lucifer who feels disturbingly human. Throughout art history, Lucifer has taken many forms, and Cabanel's interpretation is only one among a rich tradition of depictions. In Satan Summoning His Legions by Sir Thomas Lawrence, Satan is portrayed as a commanding leader enveloped in shadows. His pose is firm, authoritative. He is a general rallying his forces in hell, not a broken angel. This version emphasizes power, strategy, and the will to rise again. In contrast, the illustration Pandemonium by John Martin, inspired by Paradise Lost, presents the fall with apocalyptic grandeur. Hell appears as a vast fiery kingdom, a place where Satan and his legions begin to build their new dominion. Martin's Satan is no longer beautiful. He is dark, formidable, a titan shaped by catastrophe. Placed beside these dramatic and monumental visions, Cabanel's fallen angel stands out precisely for its ambiguity. It is not the image of a monster, nor the triumphant leader of the damned. It is the quiet, painful moment between both identities, when Lucifer is still an angel in form, yet already transformed in spirit. And so we arrive at the enduring question, how should Lucifer be depicted? As a creature of horrifying deformity, or as a breathtakingly beautiful being torn between grief and rage? Perhaps each artist reveals more about humanity than about the fallen angel himself. In beauty, in monstrosity, in pride, and in despair, we find our own reflections. Which version resonates most with you? The painting continues to watch us, and perhaps in its silence continues to judge us too.